My name is Jacques Wiesel. I'm a motivational speaker / Holocaust survivor, and I'm here to talk to you about some ideas that I have. Remember, some of them are my opinions, but much of it is heavily researched. So I speak from facts. I don't need people to argue with me all of these points. You can discuss it with each other. So if we're ready to start, I put on the TV for 2 moments and the news was again BAD. And who was in the headlines again? JB, who to me stands for just breathing. That takes care of him. If he wins, China, Russia, North Korea, and all of those nations will be laughing over there, saying, and rubbing their hands, because boy, have we got the next 4 years taken care of, because they're going to run roughshod over JB. I hate to see that happen. I don't always agree with Trump, but he is accomplishing things. He is a businessman, and he's the first businessman to take over a nation that was deeply in trouble financially, and etc. And he's taking care of all of those things. I believe those things. I think he'll continue to do it in the next 4 years. I don't like the way he speaks. I'm a professional speaker, been speaking for 70 years at least, and he's not a professional speaker. He rambles on and he forgets stuff, etc., but he is right on target when he makes the country, the economy move, and everything else. So I do believe in him, although I don't care for his rhetoric all the time or his language. That takes care of him. Next is a very sad part over here. In 1992, I wrote a book, Bloom Where You Planted, and in it I had a chapter, that's a generation ago, now 1992, 28 years ago, I had a chapter written, I Cry for America. And here I am today crying for America again. In those days, part of what I wrote was we had pride, purpose, and patriotism. And it poured out of a nation of immigrants, inspiring others to imitate it. Today, as again, I repeat the exact same words I wrote down in 1992. We now lead the world in crime, attempted suicides, abortions, suicides, runaway teenagers, drunken drinking problems, divorces, and unethical business practices. We have lost both our economic and educational edges. Well, economic, not necessarily. Okay? Reading and writing have become ritual, rotten routine. So I'm suggesting that this is 1992 and a repeat in 2020. That's very sad, you know. I don't know what we're doing wrong, but we haven't learned anything. About 20 years ago, Gene Burdick and Lederer wrote a book, A Nation of Sheep. Not only are we a nation of sheep, but we're a nation of donkeys. And you know what part of the donkey that shows us to be. Because we are following each other. I take a look at the mobs over there, aimlessly walking around, having no sense of direction whatsoever, no real purpose to straighten out America. Nobody's doing that. If it had been me, and it had been the first day of that poor man's death, his brutal murdering actually, I would have, number one, placed the 4 men involved in jail, temporarily at least, just so they're out of the way of the mob, and so we can take a look and give them a speedy trial, which is guaranteed by our government. Our government is another joke these days. It says on our paper, money, in God we trust, and we don't trust in God anymore. Nobody does out there. Because number one, we think he caused it, some of us, and God has nothing to do with it. God is so busy out there with 1 trillion or more galaxies, he has no time for my runny nose or your broken leg, anything else, etc. So stop blaming God and do it, my favorite mantra. If it is to be, it is up to me. All short 2-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. Nobody else. You want to know what you want to do, what you should do? First, take a good look in your mirror. Look into your eyes and see if you have the nerve to say, I love you. because most people don't. I first learned that in 1975 when I was addressing 150 Mary Kay ladies on Long Island, and I asked them all to take out their weapons, their mirrors, and to look into the mirror deeply into their eyes and say, "I love you," and use their name. About half of them started crying, hissing, they couldn't do it and all. About 30 of them got up and ran to the bathroom crying, and they couldn't say "I love you" to themselves. So we have a pandemic, yes, another pandemic on low self-esteem. America is awash in low self-esteem. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. We're forgetting what happened when we were children. And you know what? The facts are out. The first 3 years were crucial now bringing up with our parents. Did they love you? Were they angry at you to tell you to shut up and sit down and all? Did they give you negative messages from the age right up to 3 and then up to the dangerous age of 7, 8 or so, when major things happened to many of us? Women, they were bothered by men in those days, by uncles, by parent, father sometimes, by brother or friend, and men, of course, had their own source of problems there. And you know what? We never, ever forgot and forgave them for the stupid acts they performed then. And this is what, at age 70 and 80, we see manifest in cancers, stomach troubles, you name it, walking troubles, etc. You know, I just turned 88 a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote something about that. 88 is the number of keys in a piano. And the number of keys in my life represents the up and down, the crescendos, and then the beautiful lyrical passages that go on there, because that's been the story of my life. Between the multi-weddings, 4 marriages I had, the 4th one, by the way, just celebrating our 26th anniversary, which equals more than the first 3 marriages put together. So this one is working, and I'm very grateful for it. But at age 88, I can honestly say I bodily feel about age 50 or so, although I can't lift or run as far or lift as much weight. Mentally, I am at age 25, and every day I sit down while you're busy crying out there and wondering what to do with yourself and wandering around. I'm busy writing the Chronicles of Jacques Wiesel, which will be my 5th book. So this is where I am.
Oh, I gotta stop